So I'd like to welcome everybody to Mass Audubon's Boston Nature Center and Wildlife Sanctuary. This is the former site of the Boston State Hospital where my dad worked for 35 years. I've actually been on this property since I was probably 10 years old, riding my bike over to bring him lunch while he was working. So now you know this is a very, very special place for me. I am Pat Spence on the Mass Audubon Board, but have been with the Boston Nature Center Sanctuary Committee forever. I lost track. And actually, I started coming here with my kids. That's how important this place is before the building was built. So an ardent supporter of everything that goes on for all of our communities here. The Boston Nature Center has been transformed over the past 2 decades into an urban gem, with 2 miles of trails and boardwalks leading through meadows, woods, and wetlands. More than 15,000 visitors, family, children, and volunteers enjoy the Nature Center, the green spaces, and educational programs annually. The BNC offers licensed camps and nature preschool, providing children, our future tree planters and climate change activists, with nature-based outdoor experiences and ensuring that every child can... I'm not starting over, don't worry. I didn't think it was on. Oh, I've got to lower my voice. And ensuring that every child can attend our programs through an affordable sliding scale fee. We are so excited for the planting of one of Boston's first microforests. Because last year was just too hot in the city. We need more trees. Today, hundreds of native trees, shrubs, and perennial plants will be planted in the area right behind us, transforming a barren gravel space into a healthy forest that will create a shady, accessible entrance to our wonderful 67-acre sanctuary, while being a vital piece of climate resiliency for the neighborhood and a place of peace and joy. And that's very important as well now. Thank you to the volunteers and Mass Audubon staff, Erica Holm, urban ecologist, property managers, Michael McWade, and Connor Crane, who I just met, for the tremendous amount of work they've done for this project, including research and planning, removal of the road, site prep, invasive plant removal, and sourcing and planting the forest. A special thanks to Power Corps Boston's in the house. For their tremendous work on this project, an amazing partnership with Mass Audubon. And I'm about to conclude, but I was also mentioned that I could say that I'm also with the Urban Farming Institute. I'm the head of the Urban Farming Institute. And I was informed I could do this short commercial that we're having our seedling sale tomorrow at 487 Norfolk Street. Mayor Wu said I could do this. So come get your seedlings tomorrow from 10 to 2 at the Urban Farming Institute. So climate change is here and must be dealt with aggressively. And as I sat in my dentist chair yesterday, talking with my dentist, we concluded yesterday that there is no other place we would rather live but in the city of Boston, under the amazing, climate-focused, neighborhood-focused, inclusive leadership of our wonderful, dedicated Mayor Michelle Wu.
Thank you so much, Pat, for all that you do across the city, the gem that UFI is, and all the many hats that you wear in this capacity as well. I was excited. I was checking my calendar to see if I can get over and get some seedlings tomorrow as well. So I hope we all support. I also want to recognize this work is only possible because of many, many incredible community partners. That's some of what we're going to announce today. And a big piece of that in terms of leadership of the city is the Boston City Council. So I want to welcome and thank City Councilor Ricardo Arroyo, City Councilor Kendra Lara for their leadership and for being here. You'll hear right after me from President of Mass Audubon, David O'Neill, then Board Chair for Speak for the Trees, Liz Luclos, and then we'll invite our counselors up to say a few words as well, and then we'll do the planting. So thank you again for being with us. I know it's incredibly sunny and hot, so I'm going to make my way through here. Every time we pull in here, I just am filled with so many happy memories and a feeling of excitement. We come in the summer for the couple week period where the kids are participating in the BNC camp with Mass Audubon here. They know just about every inch of where you can find all different kinds of plants or feathers, or as I was sharing earlier, at one point, burrs became a hot commodity because they were cool and they stick together, and I opened the backpack after pickup and there was a gigantic mass of burrs that we needed to figure out what to do with. And that love of nature spills over into everything that they experience on a day-to-day basis. And so the work that Mass Audubon does, the ways that you make sure that that is real and accessible to everyone in our community, ends up making lifelong lovers of nature who will, in all of whatever paths they choose, make sure that we're all doing our part in this very urgent need to step up when it comes to climate and protecting our city. I want to thank colleagues in the administration as well who are here. Our Chief of Energy, Environment, and Open Space could not be here, but Reverend Mariama White-Hammond for steering through all of these initiatives and for making sure we're learning from every city and then launching programs that are fit for Boston. She works alongside our Commissioner of the Environment, Allison Brizius, who is here, and her team in the Environment Department, including Zoe Davis, Climate Resilience Program Manager, who really made sure, did the work so that this announcement today could be possible. We're also joined by our Director of Green Infrastructure, Kate England, by the Executive Director of Power Corps Boston, Davo Jefferson, and Power Corps members who already made their way through much of the microforest earlier. Todd Mistor, who is our new Director of the Urban Forestry Division for the City of Boston. Thank you. And our new team of arborists, Scott, Dan, and Sarah. We're so thrilled and excited to have you taking care of some of our most important infrastructure across the city. Eric James, our liaison for neighborhood services in Mattapan, who makes sure that we're connecting every piece of what our community needs, including health and green. And we're also joined by partners at Speak for the Trees. I saw David is here. Jarrell, Boston Nature Center. So thank you. We couldn't be luckier in the city. Ryan wasn't on here. Our Parks Commissioner, Ryan Woods. And I'm sorry for others that I missed. We have an incredible city team here, everyone focused on climate, no matter what department they're in. The best green technology we have is trees, and you'll see us constantly doing press conferences on trees because it makes such a big difference. And so here, what was once a vacant lot will soon be a microforest that represents dozens of native species and the philosophies and the techniques that really make sure we can be on the cutting edge of what it means for climate resiliency to be tangible and real and educational for everyone in our community. This tree canopy will also help mitigate urban heat island effect, increase biodiversity, and provide valuable protection against flooding and erosion. So thank you to Power Corps and Mass Audubon already for helping us plant this microforest. And I know preschoolers from the Nature Center, I think, are going to help finish it off too. So we look forward to working alongside them and our very own city arborists. Planting trees isn't where our work ends, it's where it starts. And we know how much time, attention, and care it takes to nurture and maintain these beautiful specimens. So we wanted to make sure that the personnel investments were happening so that our residents who are lucky enough to have trees in our streets, in our parks, have that support. And then today, we are also announcing that we wanted to provide resources and support for residents who have trees growing on their own property, but who might not have the expertise or resources to know how to maintain and prune and take care of them. We find that in many cases, because there's a gap in terms of what is available in that expertise, trees can become then seen as a source of harm for breaking up a foundation or stretching over and causing other challenges, and then they get cut down when in fact what was needed was a little bit of extra support to make sure that the infrastructure was maintained properly. So today I'm excited to announce the creation of our Tree Alliance in Boston, which will be dedicated to supporting canopy growth on private property all over the city. This will help us address the more than 60% of Boston's tree canopy, which is on private land, and which if we're serious about preserving and expanding this tree canopy, we have to not only take the public efforts where we have full jurisdiction, but also make sure that we can provide support on private land. And I know the councilors here have been taking the lead on thinking about what regulations and what framework will make sense there. This program with the Tree Alliance will foster collaboration between private property owners and nonprofits to preserve and expand Boston's tree canopy, and it's made up of a network of nonprofits from across the city, led by Mass Audubon as our convening partner. So the Alliance will plant, maintain, and care for trees on private property throughout the neighborhoods with funding from the city. And because we're committed to taking an intersectional approach to climate justice here, they will prioritize doing this work first in our environmental justice communities, where because of redlining and systemic disinvestment, tree canopy is already less dense, and the urban heat island effect is especially intense. And so we're bringing the fight against climate change to every neighborhood, every street, and every lot in Boston so that we can build a more beautiful, comfortable, healthy, and supportive home for everyone. And while the Alliance will be working closely with property owners to do this on private land, our forestry division will continue to do this on public land. So this division was launched last September within Parks, and it represents just a landmark investment in the expertise and talent now to be able to preserve and expand our urban tree canopy. So with Todd and the team and fully in place, we are now focused on hiring for our field crews as well. So if you or anyone you know is looking to branch out, yes, that is written here, and here's another, interested in joining a tremendous team. All right, thanks, guys. With some unbelievable people, we have, okay, that's it. We have 7 positions available in our forestry division, and definitely want to hear from you and plug you in. Okay. So for full accessibility, hoy estamos aquí para usar una de las mejores herramientas que tenemos para construir comunidades más resistentes al cambio climático, nuestros árboles. Lo que antes era un terreno vacío, pronto se convertirá en un microbosque y ampliará la creciente cubierta forestal de Boston. Mitigará el efecto de calor urbano, aumentará la biodiversidad y ofrecerá una valiosa protección contra las inundaciones y la erosión. Pero nuestro trabajo no acaba plantando árboles. Hi, Rep. Holmes. Welcome, Rep. Russell Holmes. Sino que empieza. Sabemos cuánto tiempo, atención y cuidado se necesita para nutrir y mantener los hermosos gigantes que limpian y refrescan nuestro aire. Pero no queremos que ese esfuerzo o ese gasto sea la razón por la que los residentes decidan cortar los árboles. Por eso me emociona anunciar la creación de nuestra Alianza de Árboles, dedicada a apoyar el crecimiento de la copa de los árboles en las propiedades privadas de todo Boston. Más del 60% de las copas de los árboles de Boston se encuentran en terrenos privados. El programa fomentará la colaboración entre propietarios privados y organizaciones comunitarias para preservar y ampliar el arbolado de nuestra ciudad. Dirigida por Mass Audubon, la alianza plantará, mantendrá y cuidará árboles en propiedades privadas de nuestras comunidades con financiación municipal. Y mientras la alianza colaborará con los dueños de las propiedades para llevar a cabo esta importante labor en terrenos privados, nuestra nueva división forestal seguirá preservando y protegiendo nuestros árboles en terrenos públicos. El pasado septiembre lanzamos la división dentro de nuestro departamento de parques para asegurarnos de que contábamos con el personal necesario para mantener y ampliar nuestro arbolado urbano. Y me alegra compartir hoy que ahora tenemos un director de la oficina, Todd Mistor, 3 nuevos arboricultores, un asistente administrativo, y ahora estamos enfocados en contratar para nuestros equipos de campo. Y tenemos oportunidades. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and I'm going to pass it over to President David O'Neill.
Thank you, Mayor Wu. That was unbelievable. Okay, sorry. I had to do it. It's really wonderful to be here. We're so excited. We're so thrilled to be a part of this new partnership and this new alliance as the convener of community groups across the city. When I think about days like today, I think about an old proverb, and it says, "The mark of a great city is one filled with people who plant trees under whose shade they will never sit." I'm not sure that there's a more fitting day to share that proverb with all of you. It's unfortunate and yet inescapable fact that too many environmental justice communities right now are suffering from a nature deficit. Decades of development in some of these neighborhoods translate into a severe lack of trees, parks, open spaces, and trails. Trees serve as our first and main point of contact with nature. Trees help us breathe. Trees help us from overheating during summer's increasingly hotter temperatures. And it's really not hyperbolic to say that a lack of trees is 100% a public health issue. That's why this initiative is so important. It's a project that sits at the intersection of some of the most critical challenges we face as a society today: the loss of biodiversity and barriers to experiencing nature exacerbated by the negative impacts of climate change. When you combine the nature deficit with 3 years of a pandemic, it proved that the only thing that grew faster than the importance of outdoor spaces was the gulf between those who had access to them and those who didn't. Bridging that gap is a goal and is part of Mass Audubon's action agenda, which is why we applaud the Wu administration for its forward-thinking commitment to funding this alliance. This is really an evolution of the work that Mass Audubon has done for many years here in Boston. And I want to give a shout out to our new regional director, Erin Kelly, who just took on this role. Erin Kelly has been doing triple duty as the education director, I think overseeing and helping the camps, and also overseeing all of the Boston Nature Center and our regional efforts. And just last week was appointed as our new director for the Boston region. Thank you, Erin. And we have so many other people on Erin's team and on other teams here that I want to just acknowledge by raising your hand. If you're with Mass Audubon, raise your hand. This is terrific. And I wanted to point out that Stacy Butel is here, who runs our new Nature in the City program. So Stacy, thank you for coming. Look, now we have the opportunity to convene this new alliance and really think about how to work with private landowners to assist them in planting and long-term maintenance of hundreds of trees that will benefit communities in untold numbers of ways. Most importantly, we'll do this by thoughtfully collaborating with roughly 24 strategic partner organizations that are led by and comprised of people from historically under-resourced communities. It's imperative that the same people who live and work in these neighborhoods most affected by a lack of trees be the on-the-ground difference makers that drives the Alliance's work forward. Thank you to all of our partners and Mass Audubon staff who have made this incredible microforest a reality. I just want to say I was here, I think in the fall, when I saw the Power Corps team tearing out tons of invasive species and getting this site all set up for this incredible forest that's going to be planted today. But please know, this is just the beginning. We understand how awesome a responsibility it is to oversee this alliance because we fully understand the assignment. Ensure future generations thrive amongst a growing and accessible urban forest that keeps neighborhoods safe, healthy, and livable. We're up for the challenge, and with the help of Mayor Wu and our partners, we'll succeed. So with that, let me introduce our next speaker, Liz Luke Clues from the wonderful group Speak for the Trees. Liz?
How's everyone doing? What a beautiful day. I'm happy to be here. Let me just get my notes together. I want to thank all of you for being here and thank the mayor and for all those part of the Alliance. thank the children for providing a future, and we're going to help them bring. And Mass Audubon, thank you very much also. I'm very excited to be here, especially because I serve on the board of Speak for the Trees. I'm a landscape designer, architect. I wear many hats. I design open spaces. I designed a microforest, believe it or not, in Codman Square. And I had just finished studying in an academic setting this type of garden and thinking a couple of years ago, wouldn't that be great if Boston had one of these? And it was academic, and now it's real, and it's very exciting. I hope you're all excited. With 60% of the available spaces in private land that need to have trees, it's critical that we do this work together. We need to build, expand the canopy and offer people opportunities to learn how to do this effectively. We just heard about some of the cases where people have trees in their backyard, they don't know what to do, and for some reason they end up taking them out. And so I believe also that we need to have people have more opportunities to be with their trees and understand all the benefits of trees. And our work is to preserve the trees, and Speak for the Trees in particular is working on ways to take care of the trees, and all of us together need to think about how these go into the future. We talk a lot about tree equity, and the reason for tree equity, to understand that there have been historical, all sorts of things that have happened in our neighborhoods that the environmental and health benefits have not come equally to all people. And so with more trees, we can mitigate climate effects in historically neighborhoods that have been affected. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I should probably just speak off the cuff, but that's probably not a good idea either. So we're looking for the equitable distribution of trees, and in all of the different ways that we plant them, and all of the different organizations that are doing that will work together to get that done. What I also want to talk to you about is the physical and mental health benefits of trees. Today, as I was driving here and coming along VFW Parkway along an alley of trees, I was thinking about how calm it felt, even just driving through a busy neighborhood. And as I drove through this property, I saw one of the largest oak trees that I had ever seen, and thought about what I might address and say today, and that in the preservation of trees, and as we see this microforest being built, we are really thinking about what we can do for the future. Hopefully, if we do it right, some of us won't be here, but the children, they will benefit from this, as well as all the other ways that people can, the air quality will be improved. Stress is another reduction point for trees. I spend a lot of time in nature, and I can assure you that even though I spend time designing and planning, at the end of the day, I go home and I sit under my trees. They also lower blood pressure. In fact, before this communing here, many of us were standing underneath the trees, feeling the calming effects and blood pressure going down. Heart disease is also another touch point where people are having health improved. In hospitals, if you are looking at green space, the health benefits are also improved. The immune system is another touch point where people can benefit. During the last pandemic, not the one we just experienced, people were taught to go outside and be part of the trees because the immunity was directly affected by exposure to nature. And then, of course, noise pollution, it helps mitigate that. And in the community, as has been mentioned many times, the cooling and the shading of places where there are trees and forests can go down by 10 to 15%. In landscape architecture, we talk a lot about stormwater management, and trees can help with erosion and collecting water and reducing pollutants going into water bodies. Biodiversity was also mentioned. we want to increase the biodiversity so that we can have healthier places to live, but also for climate mitigation. And aesthetic value, I know a lot of trees. I design spaces, open spaces. I talk about the beauty of trees, not just for their unique qualities, but I think if we learn to just appreciate them, we also plant more of them. And so I often encourage selection of trees. Pick very well so that you love your trees. And there are those that bring benefits of sorts, but there are those that people will just plant more of them. Plant more dogwoods and catalpa and lots of others. And then outdoor recreation, we all know certainly of that, and the resilience. And most recently, I was working with a neighborhood community group planting a food forest, and I was with a number of local residents. And as I looked around, I thought, this is the most resilient feeling I've felt in a while, where we're planning for the future, and here we're doing the same. And as I leave you with this thought, we're planting maples, oaks, and pine, and maples can live up to 100 years or more. Oaks have been known to live over 500 years, and pine up to 1,000 years. So in closing, as we plant this space, this beautiful space, it is not only academic, it is also the future embodied right here. And enjoy that, and thank you very much. Happy to be here, and let's plant away. Mayor Wu.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I am having an incredible day today. I have just joined you all after the groundbreaking at the Mildred Haley development for Phase 1. So it is a very good day to be both the Housing Chair and the Environmental Justice Chair on the City Council. It is not a good day to be a Black woman with your hair pressed, I will say. I would sit here and give you a laundry list of all of the reasons why this Tree Alliance is going to have an incredible impact, particularly on our most vulnerable communities. But I feel like we've heard from all of the folks who have came before me, and I think that sitting here in the scalding heat is actually giving us giving us a better example than my words could do. But I'm incredibly excited to be here to be celebrating the beginning of this alliance. I am excited to be in partnership with Councilor Arroyo to work on the tree ordinance on the City Council end, and I hope that everyone here considers me and the Environmental Justice Committee on the City Council a partner in not only protecting but growing the tree canopy and making sure that all of our communities have the benefit and the blessing of being able to access and enjoy the green spaces all across the city. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to take a moment to reflect in silence really quickly, where you hear the joy and laughter of children as they play, hear the birds and the calm and the peace. This is actually Mass Audubon in their Pathways to Nature actually was where my nephew Kimani learned all fun facts about worms that we all got to hear. And I think it's really important to note that for all of the environmental good, and they are vital aspects, and trees are a public good. They are vital aspects of our environmental health, of our personal health, but they're also an important part of our emotional and mental health. And I think that there's an aspect of this where trees in our neighborhoods are not just a part of a very important link in a chain of defenses for environmental climate change and for ensuring that us as individuals are getting better air and better quality of living, but they're also an aspect that we have emotional connections to. They are things that we have emotional claim to that bring us peace, that bring us joy. And I am very grateful that we have so many stakeholders and so many partners, and the mayor and her administration for continuing to be unwavering in making sure that we address the urgency of now, because the situation that we have when it comes to global climate change is urgent. And we know that communities of color and most impacted communities, which are socioeconomically different on the scale, are really facing it head on. and that these kinds of measures are the things that help bring relief and are part of an overall solution that hopefully one day makes sure that when Kimani is my age, we are talking about a very different reality. We are talking about a Boston that has trees for all, that has walkable parks for all neighborhoods, that is seeing this as a public good and a public necessity, and not just something that we have in some places of the city and not in others. And so I'm grateful to this administration for leading on this. I'm grateful to my colleagues, Rep. Holmes and Councilor Lara, who have shown great leadership in the environmental fights that we find ourselves in this moment. And I look forward to continuing to ensure that Boston, along with this administration, leads every day when it comes to putting together what a city or a municipal response looks like to the crises of today. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the work that you do to ensure that young ones like Kimani and others like those who are playing over there have a lifelong love for nature and an understanding of its importance, not just to themselves, but to all of us in community. And so I'm grateful to all of you for that. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Russell Holmes. I have the honor of representing where we're sitting and standing. I will, too, be aware of, obviously, the heat that we all are sitting in. But I wanted to just say, from the state level, congratulations, Aaron. I mean, that is awesome that that you've now been promoted. When I hear that announcement, does that mean that I still have you here or no? Yes. All right. I just want to make sure. So really, back to congratulations. I just want to make sure if I was losing you or not. That's a problem for me. But okay, great to know that you're here. I want to just say we hear often about environmental justice. We'll say, hey, environmental justice communities have been just so disadvantaged over all the years. And then all of a sudden, environmental justice means something different to different people. And I have said often that we have to listen to our communities. So it's so great to see Fatima, Rick and Lisa, just neighborhood folks here. Great to see all the folks from the zoo because of the fact that our neighbors and who we are communicating to about what we want in our environmental justice communities are important. That is important. It is horrible to me that people will walk in not from a community and tell us what we want and not listen to what we're saying we want. And so environmental justice doesn't mean that you go into a room and craft some idea and then all of a sudden, particularly black people, you come in and tell black people what it is we want. And so where we're standing now is we're trying to, at the state hospital site, balance that conversation around environmental justice and economic justice. And so I know you see that there's construction coming in right here next to us. And you say, well, how does this thing work? Well, this is a state hospital site that there were many buildings on before. And so the challenge has been where all these things were already built, let us build there and then make sure we categorize and inventory all the trees and make sure we don't cut those down. Aaron is in those conversations about how does that mean we make sure that we build a community that sits next to a wonderful space that many people don't know about, that we use it. So we build a community that has seniors in it. We build a community that has those who have been disadvantaged. We build a community that have had those who have been in the DCF system and certainly those who have been mentally challenged. And that is why you are seeing the level of development you see. It is because you have to, this is a neighborhood that you can't just say we're going to just do nothing but plant trees. You have to also say we want to build wealth at the same time. And so I love events like this. I love to always come over here to Mass Audubon and your whole team because of the fact that you've certainly been working with the community to make sure that that conversation is still held. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Lara. Thank you, Councilor Arroyo. Thank you, community. I even got all my folks here from the city to make sure our parks and everything. This is what I'm talking about. We want to make sure that green space is used all throughout the city. So like you said, we want to be able to walk to parks. Thank you, Commissioner. We want to be able to walk to parks. What is your role now? Commissioner, what is it? Commissioner. All right, we want to be able to walk the parks in our neighborhoods. We want to be able to walk the grocery stores in our neighborhood. We want to be able to walk the centers like today. So thank you, Mass Audubon. Thank you, Mayor. And thank all the people who have in this collaboration because of the fact that your advocacy is what we hear every single day. So thank you for advocating.
Okay, so I think we're going to come up and plant one of the trees here. Okay, come on up, guys.
Beth, I think you
your shovel.
Eric.
Oh, I didn't see you, Pat. I didn't even see you over there.
Come on now.
She kicked us off.
Anyone else want to get in on?
It's good to be black and green. You know what I'm saying?
I got a Zoom going on in my ear.
Stop it.
Here we go.
Now we know when you turn off this camera.
Oh, the workers have arrived.
Oh, great to see you. They get a name with a face. Great to see you. Outstanding.
Hey,
Outstanding.
Sarah.
Just trying to-
Oh, I was right behind you.
How are you?
No, we're good.
I didn't know you were a
Oh my God, I know.
Zoom
It
made
is
it to
hot.